Views expressed in the videos are my observation, analysis of events, persons based on principles of astrology. It's not my intent to predict, forecast absolute outcomes, only suggest how they may unfold. Nothing is set in stone. I could be wrong, but often I'm right. My desire is not to promote fear, only inform about what we see unfolding. It is our wish to prepare our subscribers for events that could affect them, their family, their goals, and their future, to help to prepare for what you may already feel suspect is happening, and to send a warning shot across the bow and raise a flag of concern. Our goal is to help, not hinder, in these perilous times, to inspire and offer possible direction, and to reveal that a greater plan and purpose are behind all that is happening. Eventually, we will see a brighter day. If you would like to show your appreciation for our work on these videos or this channel, and also the Knowing Whispers channel, you can always click on the word thanks at the bottom of all the videos. Hello everybody, it's Robert Cosmar of the Astrology of Life YouTube channel and the 3 Substack newsletters, Knowing Whispers, Messages from the Universe, Trump in America, and also Ask the Astrologer. Today the title of my video is Donald Trump, Prophet of Darkness. And what I'm going to do here in this video is to do a couple of things. I'm going to talk about the chart for the day of the election, and then I want to talk more about Donald Trump and about what he represents for me, to me. The other day when I was sitting watching TV, I had a very strong feeling about this particular video as both a caution and also a warning to a certain degree of what we're dealing with here, because we're dealing with something much more than just the bombastic nature of Donald Trump. And I'll try to explain a little bit more of that as this video goes on. Before I do that though, I want to express a heartfelt thank you to those of you that contributed to the donation fund for the repairs on our home here. This has been quite a week since the hurricane, with all kinds of stuff that normally you wouldn't have to do, but we have had to do and are still doing. And as I mentioned in, I think, the post that I put out, it takes time for your insurance company to take care of the cost of things. And in between then and now, you have contractors that you have to work with and that you have to pay before they'll actually, begin the work. So those of you that have generously given, okay, you will be contacted. I want to find out if I can do anything in regards to astrological reports that I promised to help you, or maybe something else. But it is a very warm-hearted experience to know that people that you don't really know and that don't know you are willing to give and to help out in difficult times like these. It's very encouraging, okay, for these types of things to happen. And again, CJ and I, and our little 10-pound fur ball, Riri, we thank you again. Okay? All right, now, let's take a look at this day, the day of the election, and what does it really say? All right? I've done several videos about this Mars opposition Pluto, and I've talked about the fact that this actually happens in the sky. Okay, it's not happening to the chart of the USA or Donald Trump's natal chart in that sense, but it's happening in the sky. Therefore, it really has an encompassing factor of the entire planet. And there are several things that this can denote, particularly considering the fact of the energies surrounding the election. Violence. Violence is essentially what it represents. We could see an escalation of violence in the USA. Probably we will to some degree. Very possible, because of the way that things are over in the Middle East, that we could see an escalation, retaliation by Israel toward Iran, and the possibilities of what that could create. And then also over in Russia with Vladimir Putin and the situation regarding the Ukraine. So 2025 is probably not going to be a very docile year, okay? And there is a reason for that, and I'm going to get into a little bit of this. You know, I know that many of you probably instinctively know this, but it's not just Donald Trump that's the problem. The problem stems from the fact that he represents dark energy. He represents a lack of freedom, a lack of choice, control, domination, okay? And as a prophet or representative of that energy, it tells me that dark energy is wanting, again, like it did in World War I and World War II. It's wanting to force its way into controlling our destiny, okay? Now, as many of you know, I'm not talking about Satan here. I'm not talking about a projected personification of evil. I'm talking about the nature of the universe, that both light and darkness exist. They coexist together. And like all things, they go through cycles, okay? And that this personification, in a sense, of that energy in, quote, Donald Trump, represents a period in which we are being challenged and tested as to whether we are not consciously going to grow, okay, and abate the influx of this dark energy, or are we going to surrender and allow this dark energy to come about, okay? And again, it's not the fault of somebody called Lucifer. It's not the fault of demonic energy, okay? It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with this fear that we carry with us. Everybody basically on this planet carries this fear, okay? And they can let this fear control them throughout their life, whether you're male, female, whether you're Asian, African, or American, okay? Or they can choose to consciously overcome the control of that fear upon them, okay? But what we're seeing right now, all right, in the personification of Donald Trump, a physical being, is like a tsunami of darkness that's wanting to push itself, okay, to run over the election. It's why it's so vicious. It's why Trump is so vicious, okay? And it's why the ramifications of something like this are so severe and so troubling to us, okay? Instinctively, most people that are healthy psychologically understand the danger here. Those that are ignoring it, okay, or ignoring it to their own demise, really. But it's bigger than Donald Trump, okay? It's much bigger. What is happening on the planet, the awakening for some, and the allegiance to a would-be savior dictator on another, is a critical test as to how we choose and want the future to evolve on this planet. Whether we have the strength and courage to allow freedom, okay, for all, or whether or not we want to prop ourselves up as being better than others, and that they are unworthy of the same freedom that we deserve and that we want in our lives. So, again, this situation here, okay, transiting Mars and transiting Pluto are in opposition. They're very close here. The other thing that makes this a little bit more interesting is the fact that Pluto is stationary retrograde, okay? I believe it's probably getting ready to go direct, but while it is stationary, like all planets are stationary, that's what this little S means here. And by the way, this is the Janus 6.1 program, okay? But it means something significant. I think I mentioned some time ago in one of the videos that all the retrograde planets going on right now, all right, I think Saturn's been retrograde. You can see Neptune's retrograde, okay? You can see Jupiter is retrograde, Uranus is retrograde. All of these retrograde situations, okay, when they become stationary, they let you know something significant is building, something significant that cannot be denied, that must be paid attention to, is going to happen. Okay, so this is much stronger of an opposition than if Pluto was going direct. Okay, and again, this happens 3 times. All right, it happens another time around the period of time in January, I think early January, before the inauguration. And then it happens another time, as I mentioned, I think in the last video, in May, okay, when both the USA chart and also the chart of Donald Trump have the final transit of Uranus, okay, to critical points. In the USA chart, it's the moon, excuse me, and the chart of Donald Trump, it's Mars, okay. So, volatility, okay, volatility, and again, you know, you can't say this enough, and you can't say it in more than just one way. We are watching a onslaught of dark energy that wants to overcome what we consider to be the light energy, or the light energy of freedom that most of us have all enjoyed in our entire life. Okay, and if it were to take over, okay, if Donald Trump were to be elected, all the things that he has said, okay, all the things that he has implied, he will enact them because he cannot refuse that dark energy. Okay, it is that serious. All right, so let's look at some other things here. All right, Saturn squaring Jupiter. This actually is positive in a sense because Saturn rules the Democratic Party, and it's squaring Jupiter, which rules the Republican Party. Okay, and this could imply in, you know, some way that this particular day is favorable to the Democratic Party. I believe that most aware people, most psychic people, some but not all astrologers believe that's how things are going to turn out. Okay, but we won't know. Okay, we won't know, probably won't know that day. This whole situation is going to get tied in knots. It's going to become convoluted. You're going to see fear, you know, right up to the election, more fear, confusion, chaos. You know, it's just going to be, it's going to be something that's going to force people to really soul search themselves and to ask themselves, who are they? What kind of a future do they want? Do they really want Donald Trump to do the things he says he's going to do? Is that the kind of country you want to live in, where revenge and retribution, okay, on all levels are something that is being, you know, going on? A world and a country in which the word mercy doesn't exist, compassion doesn't exist, okay? And this is not a fantasy. This is, like I said, this is an energy, a controlling, fearful energy that wants to be in charge. And Donald Trump is the prophet of that darkness. And he's been prophesizing now for about 6 to 8 years. And many are listening, okay, and deciding otherwise. And then there are also those that are, unfortunately, they are deluded in their own imagination about who Donald Trump is. And they don't want to see into the heart of darkness that is there, that a lot of us have. Okay, so Saturn is some hopefulness there. Okay, again, here's Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter opposing the moon, Jupiter opposing Venus. Okay, it's going to be a very emotionally unsettling day, needless to say. We could take a look down here at the sun. Fortunately, Saturn is trining the sun. That could speak some volumes about how things will turn out. Mercury. Uranus opposes Mercury on that day. It's a wide opposition, but it's still, you know, communications, things of that nature, voting to some extent, computers, all right? There could be a lot of conflict around that. Probably there were. One saving grace to this entire period, really, is that Venus is conjunct the moon on that day, all right? This will counterbalance any effect that fear might be generated by this opposition of Mars to Pluto, all right? So again, it's going to be a troubling day, a troubling period, but it's also going to be a period in which we will probably not experience the utter terror of seeing things completely come apart, but they will most likely come apart more so than what they have been, okay, up until now. All right, so a lot of things going on that day. All right, a lot of things are going on that day, and I think that you're beginning to see the increase in the uh, insults, the increase in the nastiness of the Republican Party in relationship to Kamala Harris, in relationship to the Democratic Party. They are not going to hold back. All right. And Trump's fervent hope, fervent hope going into this election is that there is some people out there, his diehard MAGA supporters, that are willing to shed blood for him. Okay. And we'll just have to wait and see how the Biden administration handles that. I doubt whether Joe Biden would allow something like that to occur. But you can also bet that these individuals are not going to come out and do things right up front. You know, they may try to pull some things shady and behind the scenes that will cause trouble with police departments around the country and stuff like that. So again, keep that in mind. You're not just dealing with a political situation here. We're dealing with an energy, okay, an evolutionary energy that has a purpose, okay, that is not totally pleasant to deal with. But the outcome of this election is, again, critical for the world and critical for all of us that are here in America and have had the freedom to pursue our own careers and desires, okay, and wants. We're literally talking about going back into the Middle Ages and worse, the Roman Empire, all right, if this thing is allowed to carry itself out. Okay. For those of you, again, that have offered and given donations, thank you so much. It's deeply appreciated. For those of you that are members and subscribers to the channel, I apologize for not being able to post something over the last 8 days, but I know that you are aware of the fact that I've been occupied with other things. And like I said, we do appreciate your membership, your support, for all of you that have hung in there and that have allowed me to share my deepest feelings and sensibilities about what is happening. Your comments, as I've mentioned many times before, are extremely important to the work that I do. Okay, it's giving back the energy that I'm giving out to you. Okay, and that is important. It's necessary. Okay. All right. I don't know right yet what the next video is going to be. There are pressing matters now that have taken more importance really than the astrology, but I'll try to keep abreast, and you just don't know when something happens and I feel the urge and the need to do something of a video. So keep that in mind, and we will, barring anything strange and bizarre happening, we will, okay, be having a live stream this Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Okay. So you can join us there if you'd like. We'll be talking about the current political situation astrologically and also about the awareness and awakening that is going on. I don't know if you may have caught the fact that during the period of the hurricane hitting us here in Florida is exactly when, to the day, that we had a huge burst of solar flare energy on the planet. Both of those days, it was like right up in the red if you look at the meters that they have for that. So again, it's an indication, the showing of Mother Nature, so to speak, or of the universe, sending us signs about the times and about what could happen, what may happen. Okay. Fortunately, we didn't have the entire internet shut down because of it. They just had the Aurora Borealis up north, and people were loving that. But I would rather have that than to have the internet shut off, and that could happen. That could happen. There are dark forces out there working, to do such a thing. Okay. From the low of my life, CJ, my spiritual partner, my best friend, We thank you again for your support, for your caring, for the love that you show to us, and that we hope you understand that we share that back with you. And don't forget that over on Substack also, besides my 3 newsletters, CJ has 2 newsletters over there. One is called CJ's World, and the other one's called CJ's Whispers of Knowing. I believe it's Whispers of Knowing. She is an excellent channel of higher conscious content. Okay. And I hope that you'll take the time to go over there and maybe, to join and to be fed off of that energy. It should resonate with you. Okay. All right. Again, I hope to get this done this afternoon, and I look forward to your replies. Thank you so much.